I usually think of poets as mild-mannered people, quiet, reserved. And if I'd gone to Grace Episcopal Church in Newark, New Jersey a few years ago, and if I'd sat near Louis Crew, that might be what I found at first. Dr. Crew, who died in 2019, was retired from the English department at Rutgers. He was also a devout Episcopalian and founder of Integrity, the group that did the most to advance LGBTQ equality in the Episcopal Church. That impression of mild manners and quietness and reserve would have lasted through the first part of the worship service, until the creed. Dr. Crew wrote on his blog that he always found it a struggle not to shout lines of the creed. I believe in the Holy Spirit. With a poet's ear for language, Dr. Crew pointed out that the Holy Spirit is, not was, the Lord and giver of life. The Holy Spirit proceeds from the Father. The verbs are in the present tense. I want to shout, God is alive. It's been a rough night for the disciples in the Gospel according to John. For 3 years, the disciples have been with Jesus, following him as he travels around Galilee and back and forth to Jerusalem. They've witnessed the signs Jesus has done, changing water into wine, feeding 5,000 people with 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish, healing a man born blind, raising their friend Lazarus from the dead. They have come to know Jesus as the Son of God, the one who makes God known. Jesus abides in them and they abide in him. And this abiding, this relationship is the center of the disciples' life. It's the night before the festival of Passover in John's telling, and Jesus has gathered his disciples for supper. Jesus knows it is the last supper they will share, but the disciples don't know it, not yet. They eat the food, they drink the wine, everybody having a good time. Then Jesus gets up, ties a towel around his waist, calls for water and a basin, and slowly, lovingly washes the disciples' feet. Normally, a slave does this disgusting task. Yet here Jesus, their teacher, their Lord, is doing it for them. He tells them, I've set an example for you. You should do as I have done to you. We might know this part of the story. We remember it at Maundy Thursday, right before Easter. But the night is still young and the story isn't finished. After the foot washing, Jesus looks around the table at his disciples and declares, one of you will betray me. The disciples are unnerved. They love Jesus. They've been following him all this time. Who among them would betray him? Jesus knows it is Simon Iscariot, and Jesus tells him, do quickly what you are going to do. And Judas leaves, headed to the Romans to hand Jesus over. The other 11 disciples are wondering, what in the world is going on? Then Jesus says, I am with you a little longer. You will look for me, but where I'm going, you cannot come. I go to prepare a place for you, and you know the way to the place where I am going. Thomas puts words to the disciples' confusion. He says, Jesus, we do not know the way to where you're going. How can we know the way? Jesus replies, I am the way and the truth and the life. If you know me, you will know the Father also. This does not clear anything up. The disciples are getting more and more confused and more fearful. Philip says with an air of desperation, Jesus, show us the Father and we'll be satisfied. We will ask no more. Jesus replies, whoever has seen me has seen the Father. The Father and I are so close that the Father is in me and I am in the Father. The one who believes in me, the one who trusts me and is in relationship with me, will also do the works that I do. and will do greater works than these. The disciples were confused before, now they're bewildered. These ordinary fishermen from Galilee, they will turn water into wine and heal the blind and raise the dead? They'll do greater works even than that? Come on, Jesus, get real here. What are you talking about? Jesus isn't finished yet. He goes on, I will ask the Father, and he will give you another advocate. The word in Greek is paraclete. It means one who comes alongside. Jesus has been the first advocate. In him, the creative power and wisdom of God have taken on flesh, bone, and blood to come alongside humankind. As the advocate, Jesus has guided, taught, supported, healed, comforted, encouraged, inspired the disciples. Now that he is going away, Jesus will not leave them on their own. Another advocate will come alongside them, the Spirit of truth, the Spirit of Jesus who is the truth. The Spirit will abide with them. The Spirit will make her home with them. The relationship the disciples had with Jesus will continue now with the second advocate in his place. The disciples are still confused and worried. I'm not sure any of them understand where Jesus is going and why he is leaving them. But they won't be alone. The Spirit is coming alongside them to guide, teach, support, heal, comfort, encourage, inspire the disciples. Jesus has done works of great power that testify to his close relationship to the Father, and those works heal what is broken in the world. The Spirit will enable the disciples to do those works too, and even greater works. God is not finished with the world. The Spirit is coming to continue what God has begun in Jesus. That's a comfort to the disciples. The advocate is not yet here, yet the promise of her presence gives the disciples hope. With the Spirit abiding with them, they can carry on Jesus' work in the world. They can bring new people into relationship with Jesus and continue to heal that which is broken in the world. I love that Jesus doesn't promise another advocate to people who have it all together and are out there doing great things for God. The Spirit is sent to confused, scared, anxious people who have no idea what's happening or what to do about it. Boy, do we need that now. We are living through hard times, dear ones. We have been for several years now. We are often confused, scared, anxious. More often than not, I feel like I don't have any idea what's going on or what to do about it. Maybe that's true for you too. The good news, the hopeful news, is that the Father gives us another advocate, the Spirit of truth, to people just like us, to us. The Spirit abides with us. She makes her home with us to guide, teach, support, heal, comfort, encourage, inspire us. We receive the Spirit in our baptism. She gives us the gifts we need to carry out the work God gives us to do. She sends us out into the world to bring people into relationship with Jesus and to heal that which is broken in the world. Our world is so broken, and there's so much healing to be done. The task before us can seem overwhelming. But we don't do it alone. The advocate, the Holy Spirit, comes alongside us and abides with us. One of my favorite prayers is the Collect for Purity, which we sometimes pray at the beginning of a service. We prayed it this morning. it has this line about the inspiration of the Holy Spirit. That often sounds like an aha moment, a brilliant idea the Spirit gives us. And maybe that's what that prayer means sometimes. But there's another meaning of this prayer. The word for spirit in both Greek and Hebrew, the two languages of the Bible, also means breath. And inspiration also means breathing in. We breathe in the Spirit, the breath of God. We don't have to go looking for the Holy Spirit. She is as close to us as the air. All we have to do is breathe her in, and she abides with us. In a moment, we will renew our baptismal covenant and affirm the Apostles' Creed. Perhaps today we'll want to follow Louis Cruz's example and shout that line of the Creed. I believe in the Holy Spirit. The verbs are in the present tense. God is alive. God is not finished with the world yet, or with us. We breathe in the Spirit, and she abides with us. She gives us what we need to heal our hurting world.